so. I know I'm missing something here.
We didn't actually.
Right.
You were running too, that's probably gonna go.
Nice that like.
Oh, let me let my wife know when I did it, like her ankle was up all late, early this morning. You did? You're smart. When you get old like me, you're so, I just don't want to take it. I just don't want to take it.
Yeah.
You know? Two seasons. Yeah. One is, I gotta retake it.
On the side of the road.
Yeah, you have to keep
So
it.
you're gonna get like all A's.
Yeah, that's
Whatever
right.
road you want.
I don't know, you have to trust the school, but I did find that. Well, let's see what we did last week.
Hey, once again, get the computers on, get the file that I sent you yesterday loaded up.
You don't know me yet. I thought this was our test. Question mark. Do we get our, we'll talk about, get 100? No. I got a little program that does all this stuff too. It's pretty sweet when I use it with part management.
Yeah.
Well, they're giving that for the poll. For I have a printer in the street, my street. No, I do the bunny slopes and I enjoy the scenery and drink a lot.
What up, Brucey?
And if you have you ever been to the street? In the post-Fontaine is the oldest hotel here. I bought a time slot for 5 days. And over
Do I get the handout?
the ice rink, and you hear
Warm? Oh yeah, of course. For a little bit.
we go every year.
Okay, everybody has the handout, yes? Still missing some people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16,
You know, I just
17,
love the
18,
people. I love
19,
the
20, 21, 22, 23, 24, listen 4. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and get started with this one. Now, what we've got here is basically, obviously all of you, with the exception of Bruce, but Bruce had the other class last year. Everyone, all of the things we worked on this morning, pretty much you're going to be able to do with this little spreadsheet, or most everything we did this morning, you're going to do with this little spreadsheet. Different skill sets, okay? One is calculator, one is Excel. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to create a nice little model that will basically create an amortization schedule, and we'll be able to do some other nice little things to it as we kind of begin to modify it. So let's just start out by putting in the basic information. So much like last week, at least with these top cells, the yellow cell will be a calculation cell, and then the white cell will just be an input cell. Down below, pretty much everything's going to be a calculation, so I didn't bother trying to make all of that yellow. Okay, so let's just put in the information that we've got here on the handout. So the 100,000, type that in, 10%, 30 years. Okay, discount points or loan registration fees, 4%. 35, 4%, in 15 years, or 15, repayment in 15 months. Okay. All right, so those are all the inputs, okay, with the exception of, like I said, what down below we need to put in the formulas. Okay, so let's just kind of go through and explain what we're going to be doing and kind of how this is all going to sort of fit together and so forth. So this is going to be, number one, it's going to be a nice amortization schedule that will show for each month what your actual payment amount will be, what the principal repaid during that month will be, what the interest paid was, and then the ending balance as well as the beginning balance for that period. But we're also going to add some additional flexibility a little bit later that will allow us to change the interest rate every single month, okay? And also populate a column for the lender's cash flow every single month so we can calculate basically an effective cost of borrowing or lending. All right, so this is the general layout. So now we're going to kind of go up and begin to see what we can do with all of this. All right, so the one that we can hit right off the bat that all of you should already be able to do, populate the monthly payment. You should remember how to do it from last week.
Bless you.
Okay, how many of you got it done?
Oh, I thought you could take a break.
Okay, two of you. I'll give you another 30 seconds.
Excel is
I
per annum.
I looked.
Excel standard is per annum, like the
Yes.
assumption.
This is going to be on a monthly basis. Okay, all right. So to calculate the monthly payment, all we're going to do is equal PMT, open parentheses. And then we're going to put in the rate, which is the 10%, divide that by 12 since this is on a monthly basis, comma. Number of periods is going to be 30 times 12, since once again it's on a monthly basis, comma. Present value, the 100,000, comma. 0 for future value, comma. 0 for type. See what we get? Should get the negative 877.57. Okay? Everybody got it? Okay, if you don't have it, well, you blow it up a little bit.
Yeah, please. What you need, Mom?
I'm going more.
Yeah.
You can't see back there? You're gonna block my thing?
I don't want any trouble.
So this one, we're making the assumption already, this is just going to be a monthly mortgage model. We're not going to try to do an annual one. We're just doing monthly. All right, everybody got it? Okay. Now, we're not going to be able to calculate the effective cost of borrowing because that one, we need to do some other calculations before we get there. So we're going to skip over that. We're going to skip on down to the actual amortization schedule. Okay. Now, for those, just out of curiosity, and be honest, there's no expectation here one way or the other. How many of you have never, ever seen an amortization schedule? Anybody? Okay, so 3, 4, 5 of you. All
Hit me
right.
up for tutoring. I'm available for tutoring. Anyone who just raised their hand.
Okay. So an amortization schedule, for those of you that have not seen one before, just to kind of explain real briefly what it is. It's a way of showing, basically for every single month, every single period of the loan, what the allocation is between principal, interest, and your balance. Okay, so in other words, what we've got down here at the bottom of the page is an example of an amortization or a partial amortization schedule that shows for every single month what the values would be for each of those categories. Now, in the morning class, obviously we're using the calculator to access the amortization function and to get those same numbers. But the nice thing about Excel is obviously we can just plug in a couple of formulas, change up a few things, and instantly, you know, be able to recalculate on the fly without necessarily having to put everything in the same way we do with the calculator and make changes. So, with that, our beginning balance is going to be the original loan amount. So there, all we're going to do is a cell reference. So you can do equal, and then I guess it's cell D3 is going to be your beginning balance for period number 1. Okay? Everybody good with that? Yeah. All right. Now your scheduled payment. At the moment, what we are going to do is we're also going to cell reference above here the 877.57 for the moment. So cell reference equal D6. Pop that in. But we want to go ahead and make that a positive number. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a negative sign in front of the D6. Okay? So once again, equal negative D6. All right? Everybody still with me?
So every time we're going to want a positive on that?
Well, for our purposes for this, yes. Okay? Now, let's kind of scoot this up a little bit so you can kind of see everything a little bit better. All right. So what we're going to do, and everybody kind of has their own preferences to the order of this. Sometimes in some of the amortization schedules that you will see, they will put the interest paid in the next column, and others they'll put the principal repaid. So those can be basically either way, but the math matters as to which one you effectively put first and why. Okay. So what we're going to do, is we're going to calculate the interest paid, and then whatever that amount is, we're going to subtract that from the scheduled payment to get the principal repaid. So it's going to be the leftover, if you will. All right? Now, to get the interest paid, you're basically going to take the beginning balance for that period, and you are going to multiply it by the interest rate which is up here, 10% divided by 12. Okay? So I'll hold up here just so you can see. Yeah. Okay, so the formula is simply taking the beginning balance, which is B17, multiplying it by the interest rate, which in this case is 10%, divided by 12, just like we worked earlier in class today whenever we were hard coding or hard figuring out what the interest rate would be effectively for the constant amortization mortgage, okay? So it's the same general principle. You're taking the balance times the interest rate divided by 12, okay? Everybody cool with that? Okay? All right. So, of that first payment, just to be clear, $877.57 is the total payment, but of that payment, $833 is interest, which means that whatever's left over between those two is the principal repaid, which is going to be like 40, 50 bucks, okay? So let's assume. So do equal, then take the $877.57 minus the interest paid, so C17 minus E17, $44.24. Okay, everybody good? Okay. Then we're going to do our ending balance. All right, so how are you going to get the ending balance? The most common mistake is to take the beginning balance and subtract out the payment.
Principal.
Yeah, so what you want to do is to take the beginning balance and subtract out the principal, okay? And that's going to give you your ending balance. So it's basically 100,000 minus the column D. Okay? Okay, so you should end up with a 99,955.76. Okay, is that good? Questions so far? Okay. Now, let's take a look, and we're going to get our beginning balance for period number 2 or month number 2. Well, that is simply going to be the ending balance from the previous period. So you can just cell reference, in this case, cell F17. Okay. Everybody see that? This will pick up the pace pretty quickly, but right now, just bear with me.
I'm all messed up.
Okay. So that should equal F17. All right. All right. Now then, go back up to cell C17 here for a second. All right. What we want to do is we want to keep the value, at least for the time being, we want to keep the value that's the scheduled payment, and that's going to be the same payment all the way down. Okay? Now, once we complicate this up a little bit, it won't be, but right now, for this moment, it will be. So what we want to do is we want to create what is referred to as a static cell reference. You have static cell references and you have dynamic cell references. A static cell reference keeps whatever you have referred to as a constant. So in other words, if we go up here and we put a little dollar sign in front of the D and a dollar sign in front of the 6, what that's going to do is, if we were to copy down, just grab the right-hand corner and just kind of pull down into a couple of cells. Don't pull down many. All right? You see it's pulling down the 877.57. Yes? Well, and if you look into each of those cells, what you see is the same thing. Equal $D, $6. That little dollar sign tells Excel to keep that cell reference specific and to not adjust as you copy down or as you copy over. Let me show you what would happen in the event you did not do a static cell reference. Okay, let's go back up here. We put it back the way it was here for a second. This is a lesson into itself of understanding this. So if I kept it just the way we originally put it in, all right, and I were to grab the bottom right-hand corner of this and pull down just a couple of cells, you're going to see that. But what it's doing is it's basically saying, all right, let's go up here to this cell. So what it's saying is, okay, well, yeah, the first one is this, but what it's doing is now it's pulling down the one right below it and it's populating it as 0 because there's nothing there. And then it's going down to the next one, and you can see putting in that 4% as 4 cents because it's formatted as $1. So that's why, but you follow what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's why you have to fix it in location with those dollar signs. Okay, does that make sense? Everybody cool with that? Now, quite frankly, you could. Let me show you. You could, because what we're really trying to keep constant is not necessarily the D, but really the 6 part. Okay? We're keeping basically the row constant, not sorry, the column. So we could, just, if you see what here, I just put the dollar sign in front of the 6. So what should happen, as we copy down, it works. But if we were to try to copy over to the right, it would keep moving. Okay, so just to be safe, I just go ahead and lock it in with both. Okay, you don't have to, but all right. So let me kind of go back and put everything the way that I sort of want it. All right, so put the dollar sign in front of both of those, just to be safe. Okay, so now, as I said, we should just be able to copy down. I'm just going to copy down 1. I know it works. Okay, now let's take a look at the principal repaid column and the formula. All right. Do we want to change those in any way, or do we want to leave it as is? As is, because here we actually do want it to change as we move down the page, okay? In other words, we want each month to adjust accordingly to those numbers. So in this case, we don't have to change anything, just copy down that one cell. And obviously it's wrong right now because we haven't populated the interest paid cell. All right, so let's go into this. All right, so this one, this is obviously one we're going to keep the same and the other one we're not. Which one we want to basically create a dynamic and which one we want to have as a static? Okay, D4 is going to be our static cell reference we want to keep constant when we copy down. And B17, we want that to adjust, so we leave it alone.
So we have to put the dollar signs between each of the letters? You don't just put it in front of the D4?
You put, well, technically, okay. I do it in front of both to keep it absolutely constant, but you could just put it in front of the 4. Because all we're trying to keep constant is the row number. Okay, so as we copy that one down, okay, now obviously it adjusts, so we're good. And then our ending balance, let's take a look at that one. That one is just simply, obviously, the 100,000 minus the 4424. So as we copy down, that one, we don't need to change anything. We're going to let it basically be a dynamic cell reference, keep it like it is. So copy that down one. Okay. All right, so if you're matching up with those 5 numbers highlighted there, hopefully you should be good. Now, so to speed things up a little bit, what we should be able to do is once you've got everything in there correctly, if you don't have something in there correctly, it's not going to work. But if you get everything in there correctly, you should be able to go over here, grab a hold, and with your mouse, and click and hold, and then pull down, and then just pull all the way down to basically cell 360, which would be 360 months, and then release.
Professor, did you make the F column ending balance a constant also, or?
No,
Okay.
it will change.
Okay.
Oops.
I guess we need to.
And there's how you build an amortization table.
It is a good looking table.
So now you can look at any given month, what your principal and interest expenses are, and
Uh-oh, something didn't work right.
okay, everybody good with that?
Only the first line.
Okay. The beauty of this, or at least you should be able to double check yourself with obviously numbers I printed out on the page. Make sure that, or which one? Okay, I'm going to pull up to the second month, since that's one we need to concern ourselves with.
Yeah. But he just copied it. It just should flow straight down, no?
Double click the one above it and see if it's referencing correctly.
Okay, you want D17 is what you said?
So should I grab all of them, or to here, right? I missed something.
If you just go to the first 2 lines, just double check every single stuff. That one's right.
No, what he asked was for that one, so. Okay. All right, any questions up to this point? Okay. Now, let's go over to column G for interest rate. We're going to start with 10%, so let's just populate that with 10%. Yeah, just type in the 10% for the moment. I mean, we could, okay, I see what you're saying. We could go ahead and cell reference that. So actually, just go ahead and do that. Equal D4. Okay, done. All right. So once again, hold on. All right. So once again, in cell G17, just type in equal D4, just to populate the initial interest rate. Okay, everybody good? All right. Now, everybody has their own way of sometimes, here's, let me just sort of back up and just sort of say something real quick. For those of you that are really proficient in Excel, one of the things that you understand and you learn as you're using it, there's usually more than one way to do something, okay? And you just sort of learn that over time, and everybody has their own little quirks about how they set things up, and that's fine. And I don't care how you, as long as you get the right answer, I don't care, okay? So if you choose to copy and paste or do things a little bit differently, that's okay, as long as the answer comes out correct. And some of you are going to say, well, all you can do is, and I'm like, yeah, okay, but once again, we all have kind of our way of doing things. So the first one on that is on the interest rate. All right, what I want you to do in cell G18 is to just simply type in equal G17. There's a method to my madness on this, okay, as there usually is. All right, so just cell reference. In cell G18, I want you to cell reference to simply equal G17. So all you're doing is you're just reaching up and you're grabbing the previous month's interest rate. Everybody with me on that? All right. So what I want you to do is after you've done that, go over here, grab the right-hand corner of that cell and drag it all the way down to 360. And the aha moment, if you didn't already have it like Angelo did, hopefully will be soon hereafter. All right, so if you did it correctly, it should copy the 10% all the way down. But, here's what it will do. So let's just, let me zoom out here for a second. No, there shouldn't be anything missing. Okay, all right. Watch real quickly. I've zoomed it out so you can kind of just get a sense for, maybe actually, I can do this here. I can actually, let me kind of zoom to selection. Okay, so what I should be able to do after I've done that is go up here to the annual interest rate, type in, I don't know, Daphne's not here, but we'll use 8.9. Okay, so 8.9, so as you would see, then it'll populate all the way down the interest rate, all the way down the page for the full 360 months is 8.9. Okay, everybody with me? Okay, but if we now want to make this, as Angelo figured out, an adjustable rate mortgage, what we can do, and in the way you have to sort of think about this is each cell depends on the previous one. So if you change one, it's going to change every cell after that. But if you want to then have to change it back, you're going to have to do that at some point. So let me explain what I'm talking about. So let's just say that we go down to month 3, all right? And we're going to now hard code, let's say 11% in that cell. Okay, so now everything below that is 11%. Everything above it stays what it was. Does that make sense? Okay, so if we go down, let's say a couple of more months, down to, I don't know, month 6, and we make that maybe 4%. Okay, then you see everything from that point is 4%. Does everybody follow? Yes or no? Now, listen, please, to me. Once you've done that, though, then you're going to have to go back at some point if you change problems and do what? Switch it back. And the easy way is just simply to go to the first cell or to any of the cells that have changed, like this one, and then just basically to equal and then reference the cell right above it. Okay? And then same thing here. Equal and then the cell right above it. Okay? Make sense? Now, if we want to get really super fancy, we could probably figure out a way where we're doing automatic replacement, but we're not going to. It's not worth the time and effort to get into that.
Is it from the hip then?
I'm sorry, yeah, we could probably, just, I don't want to complicate the
Do a
boat,
bunch of things.
okay? All right, now, all right, so we go back, put in the original interest rate of the 10%, so we're back to normal, okay? Everybody good? Okay, any questions up at this point? No or yes?
See,
I think I
Worked
should
easier
another
before.
formula under ending balance. My whole sheet did not.
Okay. On ending balance, let's just go to, so basically if you go to cell F18, it should be equal B18 minus D18. And then just copy that all the way down. Okay? Everybody still with me?
When he drags his, it's not, like he has it input correctly, but it's not.
are you locking the cells correct the right way? Are you making sure they're locked? With the dollar sign, that may go.
Okay. So, now, what we're going to do is we're going to make another little adjustment. Okay, so let's go over to our scheduled payment. Okay, and I'll blow it up. This, I know some of you, your eyesight's as bad as mine, so we'll blow it up a little bit. Okay. All right, to the scheduled payment number. All right, so right now, we had referenced that back to just the original payment amount, yes? Okay. So what we want, excuse me, what we want the spreadsheet to do at this point is we want to complicate things up a little bit, and we want it to calculate that scheduled payment based upon whatever the interest rate is for that particular month. Does that make sense? You're like, oh, no. Okay, but that's what we're going to be doing, okay? So we're going to have to tinker around with this a little bit and think about it, think about how we can make this happen. So first of all, we know we're going to be using the payment function, so let's just go ahead and start with that. So equal PMT. Yep. Okay. And so once again, this is in cell C17, so equal negative payment. All right. So the rate we're going to get from over here in cell G17, we're going to divide that by 12, comma. Now then, the number of periods, this is where the logic fun begins to happen here. So how many periods would it be for this particular cell remaining?
59 at 359?
Well, it's actually, for that month, it's going to be, the month is going to be 360.
Okay.
All right, so 300, in other words, the number of payments that we're basing the loan off of, okay? So, we can go ahead and just type in, we're going to change this in a minute, but I just want to show you. Okay, so we're going to type in just a hard-coded 360 for a second, comma, and then the present value is just simply whatever the beginning balance is. So B17, comma, 0 is the future value, comma, 0 is the type. Now, let's just see what happens, okay? Really, you sort of say, oh, nothing changed, and it really didn't. But we're going to do something about this 360. So in the first month, it needs to be 360, yes? As we copy down the page, but in the first month, that needs to be 360. But yet, for this month, for month 2, that actually needs to be 359. That needs to be 358, 357, 356, and so forth, so on. So put your brain out there and think, how can we make that happen? What sort of little logic adjustment can we make?
361 minus period
Do cell reference -1 on that particular piece?
Sort of, but you gotta be careful. We don't want it to, like for example, if we change the term of the loan, we don't want it to start with 360.
Right, so we want a cell reference.
Didn't you do 361 minus the period
Well,
number?
yes, but what happens if it's a 10-year loan?
Right.
So we got to figure out how to get the number that we want to be able to then subtract it.
We need a cell reference for the amount of.
Okay, so what we're probably going to do, this is going to escape from this for a second, is we're basically going to go up here. Okay, we've got to take into consideration the loan term. Yes. Okay, so in one sense, let me raise the board here. Okay, so D5, okay, D5 has in it 30, right? Yes? Okay, now all of these are going to be monthly, so that, in that sense, it's all going to be the same. So this is going to change. It may go to 10 years, may go to 15 years, but it's going to be all, they're all going to be monthly. So what we should be able to do is take that, multiply it by 12, okay, and that should give us, in this case, 360. Okay, but hold on. Okay. Now, if, for example, it were a 15-year loan, would be 15, obviously, times 12 or 180. Okay, so once again, we've got three different things going on here just to kind of help to illustrate and hopefully get our logic correct. All right, so what we're going to be doing is basically saying, okay, whatever this number is here, somebody said it earlier, you're basically going to take and you're going to do plus 1. And whenever you do that, now you're going to have 361, 181, okay? Then what we want to do is subtract out then the payment number, which is cell, in this case, A17. Okay, and so if you subtract out that, then what's going to happen is now that's going to, all of that is going to give us what we want, which is 360. Because it's basically 360 plus 1 is 361, minus 1 gives us 360. And then when you copy down, then it's going to subtract out. Yeah, now you see you're starting to get the logic. Okay, all right, and same thing here. Be able to give us the 180. All right, so let's see if we can make this work. Okay. All right, so we're replacing that 360. Yeah.
You don't do a new cell?
No. So what we're going to do is we're going to have D5, we have to make a couple of little adjustments.
How careful do you need to be with parentheses?
D5 times 12, yeah, I'm going to fix that in a second. D5 times 12, okay, and then minus 1 plus, oops, hello, plus period number, okay. Parentheses there, and parentheses there. Okay, so that should have done it. All right. So here's the final piece. Okay. So once again, all we're doing is replacing what I had in there, which was 360, replacing it with the D5 times 12 minus 1 plus. I'm sorry. Minus. My bad.
Minus.
Oops. Oh. Okay. Minus 1. Plus 1. My bad. Dyslexic. Okay. There we go. Sorry about that. I had it written out right and typed it in wrong. Okay? Now, as we would try to copy down the page, what of that, if anything, do we want to stay constant? What do we want to change? Well, the A17 we definitely want to change. The D5, we want that to stay constant, so we're going to put the dollar signs. Okay? And then once we've got that, we should be good to go to copy down the page, I think, unless, yeah, that should be it. Okay. Everybody got it? Okay. So, once you've got that, then go over the right-hand corner, then drag that all the way down to month 360. Pray that we did it right. Yes, it's supposed to say the same.
No, mine didn't.
Okay.
All the numbers.
Can we see the
stay
formula
same,
again?
right?
I'm sorry?
All the numbers stay the same?
They should stay pretty darn close. I mean, rounding may get you on some things, but for the most part, it should stay the same.
Can we see the formula again?
Okay.
And you show
Which one's
the
that?
phone
Oh, yeah, I got that.
So then you're taking your total in plus one
I
minus
don't have comments.
the total number of periods.
Plus one.
Okay.
Something's wrong, something's going on.
Everybody got it?
That's not right,
Okay. So, now,
Why are we doing the dollar signs on B5?
well, because we don't want that number to change up above. Okay? In other words, if that were to be copied down, it would give us the wrong answer. We've got to keep it constant. But here's what's cool. Okay? So now, let's just let me zoom out a little bit. Okay, so let's just start with this to sort of make sure that's right. Come on. Okay, so make it up here. We change, let's say, cell D5 to 15 years. Okay, so it should change everything. Okay, so changing it from 30 years to 15 years. Okay, everything seems to change. That's good. So let's change it back to 30 just for. Okay, so that part of it works. But now let's go down to month 3. Okay? And in this case, change the interest rate from 8% to, let's say, 5%. Hello, what did we do wrong? Think about this. Or did we do anything wrong?
Monthly payment.
Oh, okay, yeah, we gotta make one more, I'm sorry. We have to make one more adjustment for everything to work, and that's to change the interest column. Sorry about that. Okay. Okay, good catch. All right, so in order to fix that little glitch, what we've got to do, okay, kind of zoom in here a little bit. Okay, all right, so if you did exactly what I've done, you should have the same problem, all right?
Do you want us to put the 5 down?
Yeah, I want you to put the 5 down because I want to illustrate what is happening, and I want to explain what's happening. All right. So our payment is correct, okay? That's not the problem. The problem is how we go about calculating the interest, because the interest paid, we're going to need to adjust the interest paid by whatever the current interest rate is. Okay, because currently it's using the interest rate at the top of the sheet, okay? So what we need to do is we need a cell reference. Okay, so let's go over here to the interest paid column here for a second. Now look at what it's doing. Is cell D4 is the original interest rate, yes? We don't want it accessing that. Now what we want it accessing is G17. Okay. All right, so once again, just make sure that you're looking at cell E17. So what you want it to be is equal B17 times, open parentheses, G17 divided by 12. So what's going to happen is each month, to calculate the interest, it's going to go over here and say, what is the interest rate, and divide that by 12. So when we copy this down, it's going to fix this problem. Okay? Does that make sense? All right. So go ahead. Once you've got that cell corrected for the interest paid, hit enter. And then go over, grab the bottom right-hand corner, copy all the way down. Okay. Okay. Now everything has been fixed. So what you see now is, all right, we changed the interest rate over here. The payment has changed, but it has also now properly calculated what the interest paid should be. So we should, just to do another check, over here in our interest rate column, let's go down to month number 6 or period number 6 and change it to, I don't know, 8%. Okay. So once again, we have 10% for the first 2 months, 5% for the next 3 months, and then 8% from that point forward. So just see if your numbers are all matching up. Okay? Pretty cool, huh? Because that's what you can do now, a very simple way of being able to sort of show what happens with an adjustable rate mortgage.
So can you put one of those in cell C17?
Divided by.
Make sure that your cell references are set up to where.
Well, both cells, right, or one? Should I just take a lot?
Cell right below it.
Oh, there it goes.
Put it back. Equal. Okay.
I know how to do it, but I do it all the time. It's just that I don't.
All right.
So whenever you want to.
Well, yeah, whenever you change one, you're going to have to change it back at some point. Yeah. Okay, everybody good? Yes? Okay, now. Okay. So let's go over to the lender cash flow column. All right? Now I want you to think back to this morning whenever we did the adjustable rate mortgages. And what do? You set everything up as a cash flow, yes? Okay. So what is the lender's initial cash outflow?
Negative.
Well, it's negative, but what number is it? It's going to be your loan amount, yes? All right. So initially, we're going to go over here, and we can just use the original loan amount. We may adapt this here a little bit later, but right now, just make that a negative cell reference. So in other words, in cell H16, it's going to be negative D3. Now, one question that you may ask is, well, wait a second, that's a cell above everything else. Well, the reason for that is that's occurring at time period 0. Month 1 is the one right below it. Okay? Make sense? Okay, now. Okay. Okay, so, I'm sorry, what? You need to make it a, well, as long as it's negative, doesn't matter what, sometimes different versions or settings in Excel will like make it one color, another color, that sort of thing. Don't worry about that. Okay. So, now what we need to do is, what cash flow each month is the lender receiving under the current model? They're receiving what? 8 cents, well, whatever the monthly payment is what they're receiving currently. Yes? Okay. So that is the total payment they're receiving, principal and interest, okay? So all we're gonna do for the moment, we're gonna be changing this because we're gonna complicate it, but right now, we're just gonna go over and get the scheduled payment amount, and then hit enter. So once again, it's just a simple cell reference equal C17. Okay, everybody cool? Anyone not cool? Okay? All right. Now, copy that all the way down. That cell reference. Okay, just all the way down. Okay. All right, so whatever the payment was for that month is whatever the dollar amount that's going to be populated within that cell. Okay, does that make sense? We good? Okay. Any question up to this point? Okay, we're about to enter the fun zone. All right?
We're not ready yet.
You're not ready? Okay. All right, so what we need to do now is we need to be able to calculate what our effective cost of borrowing is, but we also need to make some little adjustments here. So let's think about this for a second. And let's just sort of, I think the best way to do this to make it simple. Okay. All right. Now, we said in this particular problem, we're going to, if you look up here at the assumptions, we said we're going to prepay this loan at the end of month 15, okay? So what we need to be able to do is to calculate an effective cost of borrowing for that particular time slot. Well, now, what I want you to do is to take a look at something here with a handout. This is where the handout actually is quite helpful. What do you see happening in month 15 over here in the lender cash flow problem? Okay, you're seeing a big dollar amount, okay? What do you suspect that dollar amount is? First of all, is the paying off the balance of the loan, yes?
Yeah, prepayment.
But it's also going to have a prepayment attached to it, all right? Does that make sense to everybody? Yes or no? Okay. All right.
So then why is there still cash flow afterwards?
Because there was no easy way to make Excel recognize that. But what we're going to do is we're going to do a vertical lookup that will allow us to capture only that cell and populate where we want it to be populated. So even though it's a bunch of garbage, we're going to have Excel give us the one cell that matters to us. Okay? All right, so let's see if, now you're also, okay, let's go ahead and before, so what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to match up what we got on the sheet. So let's do this before we go any further and start screwing around with everything. Let's go back up to our interest rate column and get that back to where it was before, where everything is going to be 10%. Okay? So everybody knows how to fix that hopefully by now. Just go to the cell that where you changed it and then equal the cell reference right above it. Okay? Okay, everybody good? For now. Okay, so let's start seeing what we can do. All right, let's take a look at some of the things we've got going on here. Okay, first of all, here on my, okay, on the spreadsheet that we got up on the screen, we say $100,000, yes? What does the sheet say? 96. Why does it say 96? Because you've got a 4% origination fee. So what we need to do is we need to figure out what formula we need to put in to this lender cash flow to adjust it for that 4%. So there are a couple different ways you can approach it. I would probably multiply it by 1 minus 4%. And there we got the 96,000. Okay, so once again, if you want to see what I did, there's more than one way to do it. That would be one way to do it. Okay, everybody matching up? Okay, that one we don't have to copy down because it's a single cell only. Okay, everybody good? Now, just for fun, let's go up to where that loan origination, and cell D8, and just make sure that everything's working like it should. Let's make it 6%. So that should make it 94,000. Okay, let's say we make it 3%, 97,000. Okay, since we're going to put it back into 4%, so we're back at 96,000. So everybody good? Yep. Okay. Now, take a look at the handout with respect to the lender cash flow. Instead of 877.57, it has 912.57. What's going on there? Monthly fees. Okay, just like we talked about this morning. So now what we have to do is go over here to our cash flow each month and do what? Take equal C17 plus D9, but we need to do what? We need to fix that in location with a static cell reference. So that D9, we're going to make as $D $9. Okay, everybody got it? Now, once you've got that, and you've got that corrected, then, once again, grab the bottom right-hand corner, copy all the way down. So have we officially entered the fund zone or not? Yes, we have. Okay. It's about to get better. Okay. All right.
You just added in the service fees?
I did. That's all I did. Okay? Everybody good with that? Okay. Any questions? I'm sorry?
Can you show it again?
Well, no, I would just cell reference.
No, the formula.
Oh, yeah, right there.
Well, yeah. Yep, and then this is what I double put.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Everybody got it?
Does that work?
Okay. Now, in month 15, we've got two things happening there. We're paying off the loan, and we're paying a prepayment penalty. So somehow, some way, we've got to insert that information into that cell. So let's just play around with this a little bit. Let's go down to the cell C15, or not C15, but H. Or,
Are we doing it just for that cell or planning it?
yes. We're gonna copy it later. Right now, I just want to focus on that cell just for the purpose of the educational process. Aaron.
Really quick, the lender's cash flow 912.57,
Double
mine's
click it after that?
changed
Okay, did you change back your interest rates?
Yeah.
to,
10, all the way down.
okay. Now it is.
Okay. Okay. So, any idea as to how we are going to populate that? Well, what formula will give us the balance of the loan at the end of whatever month that we want to select.
Cumulative balance.
What Excel formula?
Q balance.
Future value. Okay. All right, so first of all, let's do this with the calculator. So I want to illustrate what's going on here because that'll help to kind of put it into perspective. All right. So we've got 12 payments per year. Clear everything out. $100,000 as our loan amount, 10% as our interest rate, 30 years as our term, get our payment of $877.57. Okay, now, what we're wanting to find out is what? What is the balance at the end of month 15? So we would normally just do 1, input, 15, shift, amortize, equal, 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 and that's going to give us our balance, but we're going to take that balance and we're going to multiply it by our prepayment penalty. Okay. What is our prepayment penalty rate?
4%.
4%. So we're going to multiply it by itself plus the 4% prepayment penalty, and then that is going to give us the total payoff for that month. Yes? But in addition to that amount, we also have to add in what? The payment for that month. In other words, all the stuff that we already have there. Yes? In other words, for that month, there's also going to be, in terms of the lender cash flow, $912.57. Yes? So whatever we get here needs to be added. I'm just going to simplify and say that needs to be added to the 912.57 to give us the amount that's actually written there, which is 104,180.71. Okay, so let's see if we did it right and see if we come up with that.
So after the 912.57, just press equal in the calculator?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. It's right.
Okay. Okay, so we get 99,296.28 as the mortgage balance, yes, times 1.04 for the prepayment penalty, so we get 103,268.14 plus 912.57, 104, 180, 71. Voila. Okay, got it? Okay, now figure out how you're going to put that into Excel.
Do they make this like a graphing calculator where you can see the history of what you just typed in?
I don't think so. Maybe so, I don't know. But. Okay. Does everybody understand what we did over here on the board? Yes? Okay. Now, here's the thing. Instead of using the amortization function to get our outstanding balance, we could have used the future value function. Let me show you. Well, actually what we can do is after you've got this as your answer, you go up here, change the term to 15 in, and then you should just be able to solve for the future value, and you should get the 99, 296, 28. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's a shortcut to get to that number, instead of having to use the amortization function. And then once you've got that, then once again, multiply it by the 1.04, and then add in the, so what we're gonna do in Excel is this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna do the future value calculation, okay?
So the prepayment penalty,
Yep,
it's based on the principal that is left within that period.
correct.
Say you pay down the principal, but you're not paying it out.
Okay, one more time on that.
Say you make extra payments, but you don't pay it out.
What do you mean you don't pay it out?
You're not paying it entirely out like this, right, in a lump sum.
I am not following you at all. So,
You're trying to make it like one of those phones that load down or you just like.
Say I make extra principal payment.
oh, yeah, no,
They still hit you with the.
Yeah.
Okay.
but we're not gonna take that into account with this.
You can't.
Right.
So they,
And you pretty much just presume that you're not gonna make extra principal payments.
so they build, what I'm asking is. do
Yes,
they-
they would penalize you for that. Okay? Okay. All right. So, coming back over here,
If we didn't have that already done, the 91257, we just add that to the monthly fee, to the normal payment, right?
right,
But we know it doesn't matter.
right. Okay. All right, so let's go down to the month 15. There's, once again, a method of my madness on starting there and then going back to the others, okay? So, basically, what I would suggest we do is if I put this in parentheses, and we want to add the future value. And in this case, it's going to be the rate divided by, and the number of periods. This is where we're going to have to use our goofy formula that we came up with. So this is where it starts to get really nasty pretty quick. All right, that's why it's layered, okay? So we're going to have to, for our number of periods, that's going to be basically go up and grab 30 times 12, okay, and then it's going to be, we're going to put that in parentheses. Oops, hello. Put that in parentheses, plus 1, minus that particular payment period, which is the 15. Okay. All right. And once we've got that, comma. Let me move this up a little bit so we can see it. Ah.
But you got an array in there, that'll mess you up.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to get that out of there. Okay, come on here. Yep. Okay. All right. So that took care of getting our period number in there.
Wait, is there a parentheses, an extra parentheses in there or not?
Yeah. Well, we're not.
After
Okay.
12?
Yeah. We need to. Well, we're not done. We're not done with the future value yet. Okay. So once we've got that. Okay, so we got the rates, No, I see, I wiped out something whenever I was messing around there. So 12, comma. Okay, this gives us our number of periods. And then our payment is we're gonna go over.
Comma D5.
And our payment is going to be the $877.57 plus, we're going to have to go up and capture our monthly fee. Okay, comma. Okay, right down. And then get our present value. Comma, and then in the period.
I'm not this
Yeah.
Make sure that,
Nah, I didn't like it.
I still think maybe it's the future value principle. I don't know if I'm wrong.
okay,
Is everybody? Yeah. I think you have to put another parentheses after.
G31 divided by
D9.
12.
I think.
no, well, hold on. Okay, let's just, let me start with just the present to the future value, just for a second, see what okay, I know that's not right. Okay, so we've got G31, which is our rate, okay, that's right, divided by 12, that's right, comma, and then for number of periods, E5 times 12,
Yeah.
okay, and then plus 1 minus A31, comma, and then C31, and that's probably going to need to be a negative. That's, I think, what's screwing this up.
Both of them?
There we go. Now we're sure we get somewhere. This monitor works. And then what's the present value? No, let's just do this way. I'm gonna take all this out. We're gonna try it a simpler way.
Start over.
Well, I'm gonna just make sure that I'm doing it completely right. Let's see, okay, 115, so 360 minus 15 is 345.
I'm getting.
So, and then C31. C31 minus B9, okay. Making sure that's right, okay? B31 is our present value, which should be B31.
Is that 345 come?
Oh, I'm sorry, my apologies.
Take your time and figure it out. Figure it out.
Okay, so we've got, we know that the rate is right. We know that the payment remaining
There's no more payments. There's no more payments. That's the end of the loan. The future value shouldn't even.
I'm an idiot. Okay.
No.
So basically, yeah, I was overthinking it. So we don't have 345 payments remaining. We want to find the balance at the end of month 15. That's where I was going wrong. Okay, I reversed the logic. My bad. All right. So but we just, hold on. All right. So now, just to make sure that there's nothing else weird that would be happening here. So B31. Okay. That's gonna be right. Yeah.
Then you don't have the parentheses anymore, E5.
When you reference the cell, where it says 15 instead of 15.
Missing payments. Yeah, that's right. Value. G31, 10%, divided by 12. Payments have been made is 15.
Should we reference the cell?
I think you want the present value. That's my only guess.
No, you want the future. You want to know what's left over. So it's going to be cell B31, or actually no, number of periods is going to be A31. What am I missing? Why is it?
Well, future value would be still paying the interest on that. You want to pay the penalty and not the interest.
No, I understand that, but what I'm trying to get right now is just to get the future value to match up with the value here. In other words, the value that we get here should match up precisely with this value right here. Okay? Or really, yeah. And I'm missing something.
Is it because it's
I
not,
didn't erase anything
it's
that you
plus,
had originally.
it's plus the payment, not minus the payment?
Yeah, something like that.
Cell M31.
Is it because you're subtracting the C31 instead of adding it?
Yeah, but well, actually, somebody just said the brilliant thing, which is we should just be able just to capture, yeah, yep. So we just screw all of that. Overthought it, okay. All right. So, we should now be able just to, that plus the payoff amount here of that. Okay, and then, okay, so start with that. Okay, we're getting close. All right. But we need to multiply that times the 1 plus what's the cell reference for the prepayment penalty rate? Okay. Close parentheses. 104, 180, is that right? Thank God. All right. Now, hold on. Let me fix this. So that's
Give us a second
okay.
to make sure we get the right.
F31, yeah. All right, so we need a static cell reference D10. Okay. Okay, everybody got that?
Can you give us 1 second, please?
Oh, yeah. Delete that. Don't need that anymore. Okay.
31 times.
Let me blow it up a little bit more.
And you have to do those others.
Yeah, but we're gonna get there. Okay. Still bugging me when we didn't get it. We'll accept it.
Are we gonna put in a static reference to the prepayment bond?
The one, sorry?
Are we gonna change this to have a like a static reference to the month that the prepayment's occurring?
Yes. Okay. All right. Everybody got that so far? Yes? My apologies. Okay. All right. Now, so what we're going to do over in column I is basically we're going to calculate an internal rate of return. Okay? So you're going to do equal IRR, open parentheses, and then you're going to capture all the values from H16, in this case,
17.
31, and then we'll just put a guess as 0.1. Now this is going to give us an annual number, or a monthly number that we need to make annual, so we're simply going to multiply it by 12. Okay, does that match up? Yep. Okay. Okay. Make sure that all your cells match up. We got the 104, 180, 71, and then for this, we're simply, if we want to blow this up a little bit, just to kind of show. Okay, so what should be, if your numbers are all matching here, that everything is 57, all the way from period number 1 through period 14, and then in period 15 is the 104, 180, 71, then you should just be able to, once again, calculate the internal rate of return on that. Okay, is everybody good? Okay, now, all right, once we've got that, okay, we want to be able, okay, let's just go over here and look at the formula for this. Okay. Okay, now, if I want to sort of copy up and I want to copy down with this formula, what do I need to make static? What do I need to make dynamic? Because we're always going to start with H16, yes? So that one's going to be static. Okay, whereas the H31 is going to obviously change as we go up and down the page, yes? Okay, so everybody make that adjustment. Okay, now you could probably a handful of ways you could approach this. We can go ahead and sort of just pull down and copy everything from that point forward. Now you're going to get a bunch of gibberish because that number is meaningless except in the month of payoff. Okay. Yeah, so don't, yeah, it's pretty much going to be a meaningless number pretty much all the way down the page because the payoff is occurring in month 15. you can see is on your sheet, it probably is matching up, which is important. Now then, we want to, should be able to copy up as well. And those numbers are even more meaningless, okay? Because, once again, the payoff doesn't occur in those months. Okay? Right? Okay, once again, make sure that you've got the formula that I've got that you're copying up. And make sure that it's adjusting accordingly. Once again, it's $H, $16.
Well, I haven't been able to copy it down yet. It gave me numbers before I put the $sign and made it copy it down. I got internal rate of return in parentheses H16 to H31, comma 0.1 in parentheses times 12.
That should be it.
That's not.
Maybe try retyping it and see if it's something that should be it. Okay. All right. Now just to see if everything. So let's just go up to specifically. Let's look at month 6. And in month 6, just click on it. Click on the effective cost of borrowing and just see what it's doing. Okay. It appears to be pulling the right cells, but since we don't have a payoff amount, it's not going to be an accurate number. Okay? All right. Is everybody good up to this point? Okay. All right, so now what we need to do, the next piece of this, is we need to figure out how to tell Excel to populate this information with the payoff amount versus just the monthly payment. Okay? Anybody have an idea how we're going to do that? Yes, the if-then function that we talked about last week. Okay? So think about what you're going to be if-thenning.
If the payment's greater than.
Marcella got it. Okay?
What is it, Marcella?
So.
I'm trying to talk you right, that's all.
All right. Get a black one. Okay.
It looks exactly the same as his. I don't know why it's not. Maybe I need to get a new machine.
Brandon, did your boy drop out? What? I'm out. He's scared.
Okay.
For the effective cost.
All right. So what we're basically saying is if the cell okay, let's go up over here. All right. Okay. D11. So if cell D11 is equal to, and so the value for D11 is currently 15, yes? Okay, so if cell D11 is equal to the payment number, in this case, it's going to be A31. Is equal to A31, which also happens to be 15. Okay? So if that is equal to that, what do we want to do?
Regular payment.
Okay? Well, no. No, if it's equal to that,
Oh, if it's equal to, then now we pay prepayment penalty, all that
we
stuff.
want basically it to be the payout or the prepayment penalty plus the regular payment. Yes? Okay. If it's not that, then we want it to be what?
The payment, the regular payment.
Just the regular payment.
Okay.
Oops. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so now we got to figure out how to put that information in to our if-then statement. Because what we're saying is that if this sort of, if it's a different cell, and for example, D11 is going to stay constant at 15, and it's actually cell 5, then we only want it to access the regular payment. Does that make sense? Okay. So let's see if we can figure it out. All right. If. Okay. And we said, what was the cell?
D11.
D11 equals C31, is that what it was? Or A31. Okay. Comma. We want all of that stuff to happen. Okay. Comma. If it isn't that, we only want the we want the C31 plus the D9. Okay. Let's see if I did that right. Okay. Now, hold on. We're going to go ahead and static cell reference these. We need a static cell reference. So D11, that is going to be a static cell reference. Okay. A31, that's okay. C31 is okay. D9, F31, D10, okay. That should be okay. All right, now let's just, okay, so this is the correct answer, yes?
Yep.
All right, so let's just want to do a test on that one cell, just for a second. Okay, we're going to do view, and I got to 100%. So, just for that one cell, okay, let's go up here, and what should happen is if we type in anything other than 15 in that box, it should be back to the normal. And it is. Okay, so we did it right. Okay, now, let's go back and put in the 15.
14,
all right.
Formula again.
All right, so now what we're going to do, okay, hold on. Hold on, we're going to go back to that cell. Now that we've got the if-then piece in there, and we're just going to copy. Okay, let's scroll up a little bit. Okay, so there it is. So let's just explain as we walk across. All right, so if D11, so we put the dollar signs in there. $sign D, $sign 11 is equal to A31 then what we are doing is we are taking the C31 plus $sign D, $sign 9 plus F31 times 1 plus prepayment penalty, which is $D, $10, close parentheses, twice, and then, so that, this portion right there is if this is true. This is what you do, okay? If it's not true, comma, then you do C31 plus $D, $9. Does that make sense? So this is no, this is yes, in terms of the logic. Okay, does that make sense, everybody? Okay? And I know it gets a bit long in terms of but if we try, as we've done, try to break it up into little incremental steps where we just kind of keep adding things, hopefully it makes sense. Okay, so get that one typed in correctly.
Copy it.
And then we're going to copy it, both up and down.
And we can put any repayment date, month or month.
Okay. Has everybody got typed in? Okay. Okay. Copy it down. And really nothing should change is what you see on the screen because we've got to change the payoff period. Okay. Okay, and then I'm going to copy it up. Okay, now, for the test to see if we did it right. Okay, so what should happen now is whatever month that I type in here into cell D11, then it should then properly place the payoff. So let's just pick month 6 and see what happens. Thank God. Okay, it worked. All right, so now, basically, then it does the full payoff here, obviously in month 6. So you should be able to change it to any month throughout the whole 360 months, and it should populate just for that cell. Okay, is everybody good? I know it took us a little bit of time to get there, but it makes sense. Yes?
It looks like it's right, but I can't see it.
Okay. Reading the number, don't need to worry about reading the number. All you need to worry about is just saying, make sure that it did jump. So let's kind of view, zoom to selection. No, hold on, wait, let me scoot out a little bit. Yep.
Oh, comma?
Comma, so you need to do this. That comma would be.
Okay, so then here.
Well, did you copy up though? Did you copy up the page?
No,
The fun part is going up to the top and changing what month you prepay.
In other words, from month 15, you got to copy up the page.
And down, right?
And down. Okay, everybody good?
You can copy it up and down. You need to
Okay. All right. I can tell you guys are getting a little worn. I understand. Okay, so let's do this. We'll come back and we'll finish this up in about 15 minutes. So take a quick break. Decompress. 15 minutes, so let's just say 2:25.
Yay, thank you.
Okay. But I didn't drag it down.
You didn't?
No.
Only drag it up. Well, so now it's not going to go below. And 20, it's not going to find it.
Okay, so now I'm going to go down. Down, and coming. Okay, all the way to the bottom. What about going to the top?
I don't know how to do the top. I just drag out.
Okay, so I'm done with that.
Yeah.
Okay, then
Mess around with whatever.
no, go to the top.
Yep.
This goes so freaking fast, bro.
How,
My computer is,
This one or this one?
Because I couldn't finish it started.
is old. Look at the videos. And I see some of the Excel functions are like a little freaky because when you go to drag, it doesn't always pop. Let's see if I change.
Yeah, we're gonna head out, but I may message you for the spreadsheet if that's okay, because I'm gonna miss that.
Absolutely. I think any possible if I completed one.
Sorry?
Yeah, I think she'll send you out.
Yeah. Oh, okay, man.
So many things.
Yeah, I will.
What are you looking to down here?
I'm sure.
Okay.
You live around here, right?
I'm Davey.
Okay, sounds good. We'll hang out next week. No.
Oh my god, I got like a migraine going here.
Got it.
No, it's just it goes so freaking fast, bro.
So you were talking about the weekly family?
Yeah,
last
that's
week?
my uncle's.
So I was talking to a guy.
Hey,
named-
you want to go to the rodeo?
Yeah.
The
With
big
you?
rodeo?
Yeah, with
Not
you.
with me. I'll get you tickets.
That's what I'm saying. I want. At least you're there.
Yeah.
If you're there,
I
I'm
might
there.
be. I might. No, you don't have to go. Man, it's happening.
I'm
Then you go to
be there,
round
'cause
up
you're
afterwards.
Okay.
I don't have to be there. I'll get you the free tickets. It's $20 to get in. $25.
I'm in.
I'll bring some to the class next week.
Please.
Is it next weekend? Is the?
I don't know when the rodeo is.
It's the weekend after. But I'll bring the tickets next week. I'll get it from my uncle
Right
or the
after.
weekend, or bring him the day of, and you guys can go at night.
Right after you mentioned
It's a 3-day
that big
event.
name in Davie, the weekly family. Someone brought it up, like in the same week. I was like, dude, I just heard that name this week. He's friends with the guy, one of the sons. He's a member at
Troy
Grant.
Lee. Troy Lee? There's only one son. Troy Lee.
Troy Lee?
Or Salty.
Salty.
He's the smart one.
That was the name. And he's like, yeah, man. He's a lawyer down in.
Yeah, he does financial stuff.
Yeah. He said I'll get you out there to Grand Oaks with him. I was like, it's crazy. I just heard about him this week, and it's a good Davie guy to know.
Well, my family's been in Davie since the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
And they're married to the Griffins, Griffin Road. My uncle's
No
married
related
to
to Griffin
Linda
Road?
Griffin. Well, the Griffins.
Is it related to Ben Hill?
No,
Family?
different Griffin.
Different Griffin. Great Florida families, though, I would say.
Yeah. The Griffin Road was named after my aunt and her family. And my uncle's married to him.
To Griffin Road?
To the Griffins. The Griffins.
That's awesome.
Yeah. A little
For
history.
a Davie guy like me, I think. Like that.
See, I wonder what,
I wonder what was he going to test this? There's no way I remember all this stuff.
No, it's understanding. Because
he's going to quiz. He's going to quiz us on something.
the thing is, when you look at future value, it gives you what to do, as long as you know when to do it. I think it's really understanding. But he's saying if you get quit, so I know you can get them. That would be tough.
Dude.
The only thing he could do is change like the prepayment penalty, and then you'd have to just switch on some of them.
Oh.
So what you do is next level is something called a PSA, and this is a group of loans instead of one loan. It'll take the amount of loans that are evaluation application on how those loans are. It gets nuts. I mean, this is interesting, but if you look at the $1 million loans, and you start breaking it down, this is already violence. More lines. This is a lot. There's only a few more lines. You're solid.
Page 31, yeah. That's something about the numbers.
Whoa.
Stop this session.
That's really. I'll probably miss a different one. Damn. It's getting worse and worse as time goes on.
You're not? No. I'm gonna hire someone like you to do it. Yeah, the problem is if you don't understand them, and someone gives you a spreadsheet.
I know concepts.
Yeah. Straight. Don't dig around in the dirt. No one needs to know that, right? Just dig around in the dirt.
You know.
I know 2 basis points on $500 million is
A lot.
a lot of money. You want to be in the detail. If you're dealing with powerful money like that,
No, I can't.
I'm just telling you.
But I'm not gonna be the one doing it day to day.
No, the goal is to know and well that you can get not designate because you don't know it well. The goal is to know it so fucking well. Give it to someone else.
But if you create checks and balances, you can make it where it's hard for people to do stuff.
Messing up, not being like messing up. Not analyzing the risk.
Dude, look at it. I'm stuck here, bro. I'm way back here. I'm gonna have to watch the video.
Okay. What's your problem?
I got it written in there, right? And it don't want to do it.
Positive number. How are you gonna get internal rate of return? They're all positive.
Get out of here, bro.
One button fix. I can't tell you how many times I've tried to build.
You gotta be kidding me.
I used to build these for cars. Because my buddy does a leasing thing, and I would change the depreciation value and try to see what kind of just what Brennan told me about was that. A couple of things that are drafted down.
What's the?
Yeah, let's say that just this formula, like all the way at the bottom, number stop, 0.3 number stop. It goes zoom instead of.
Bro, they got it downstairs for free.
Might as well.
That's almost amazing. That's like my favorite thing to do in Excel class. Oh, I got all these right? What's that one?
Dude, I wasn't paying attention.
I like that one. And rap.
So it's not imperative that I get another egg.
It's not.
Just remember, you can get 2 C's and graduate. Okay, you have to fly straight. Listen,
I mean, that was
the first financial
We can't book any more rooms because we're probably closed out the view. All payments, everything is finalized. Now, if you want to book directly with the tool operator, they do that.
I didn't write any notes, I got totally lost. I got really frustrated. Wait,
Course?
yeah. So, and then I had a 90 and 80 on the second class. And I missed one calculation of log formula. And I got a 4.
So, for this morning,
Wasn't scored on the first time.
Huh?
Destroying the middle of the round.
No, because I was so excited. I had a 90 and 80. I think I had 100.
No, I'm talking about the football.
Oh, who's winning?
It's gonna be like they call it.
Well, you got.
No, this is called Jimmy.
done for the day.
Settle down. Settle down.
Oh, this is FSU.
You know,
No, I don't.
You don't care? Just don't
that's a
I'm a Heat fan.
Who's gonna quit?
Doesn't sell arms.
You could have guessed that much.
No, because we won.
Last year we covered that. Remember I told you, I was like, there's no way we're going to cover it, and then of course I get home.
I'm gonna have to move up a lot closer. They'll try to shoot. It goes so fast, it's hard for me to see with my bad eyes in the back. Professor Worcester killed me in the GIS. Because his cursor, I couldn't see. I like this, but I couldn't see the cursor. So he's like clicking and saying all this stuff. You didn't see what I'm doing. That's my story.
Everything outside of country. I mean, a lot of people coming from Cali and the West, like, you know, like all the different stuff here, like, they're all getting them from here and then up in Texas. They're just so in that area.
I'm like,
Hey, did you get your break on Mr. Late?
oh wait, where's she gonna go?
On my project, did you see his story this guy put on there? You were late on your submittal.
But I just find out, how can you
You wrote something on there on the cover.
That's the thing about all that. You're playing, you don't play good, like, it hurts you. You keep hurting and hurting.
We're in Miami.
And then comment, yeah, you're like, so I'm sorry, this and that. I'm like, nice try. Because you. Sunday I worked. I had no clue what I was doing. I haven't watched some of the films.
Data was tough. Because the old school.
I think we're gonna lose.
This is
Never do good against yourself. Old Raiders team.
I was Ohio.
He was like Dozy.
Oh, no. But it was linked. But I love it. I got the ticket in
We're gonna see the
That's why that's the
I feel like it'll be like the first person. I mean, one really hard question and a bunch of easy ones.
Just come down.
You miss a deadline. It's such a. That's the thing.
My wife hasn't been wrong in 25 years. Remember that when you get married.
Repeat after me. Yes, dear. Oh yeah, like the hurt.
This reminds me of Excel. You know, take this medium Excel classes. It tells you want to take a boot camp. When you leave, all you have is like, oh my god. So you can. I think it's I'm gonna get my wife's computer. Probably. No, it just takes me twice as long to figure everything out because I already have passwords. Oh, coffee, no, they're already closed. You gotta go before.
Well, I went to the library and I was waiting, but there's all these phones.
No, you gotta roll the dust out at 2.
I got my alert too.
Let me say 56 pages. No, I don't even like it. It's only for the sugar. I've been eating good all day. And if I did this all I don't want to look at it because well, I already look at the all day long. I don't want to but I'll definitely keep all these cool dudes. Yeah, I love them. I used to when I was working at I don't
because we're trying to figure out make it more 360 minus 1
but I switched it
minus 4
2, 3, 4, 5, 360 for a week or two. The sources and use you know, a month worth of work.
Plus 1 is 361 minus 1 is 360. Because in order to use this number in this column, we have to add 1 in order to subtract.
They both read it 100 pages and they started to take
No, okay.
Really?
So it's one finance book and it says accounting is like finance is accounting is so basic and set like specific rules and principles.
You've got to say,
Accounting is in the past.
That's how I look at it. That's really, it's like, oh, you want to go look at my mess? Go clean up my mess.
I got two. Okay, one of my partners, one of my old partners, that's worth $100 million. He has nothing but a degree. And the other guy, and they keep everything so simple. They don't need, because regular land deals, unless you know that's what we did, it doesn't take anything like
36s.
No, I'm just saying it doesn't take all this financial engineering, but when you get into the retail office and all that, and you're dealing with income producing, yeah, but when you're dealing with people you're borrowing money with, we didn't borrow any money, it was our money.
They need to underwrite all of this stuff.
They swear I had like several
What are you doing? Are you That's so cool. I have no experience. I understand what's going on in space. This stuff. Obviously,
this number is here.
it's like it's so
I read a book that was written in the 50s. It was written in the 50s about buying and building an empire in the 50s. And it's not changed one bit. It was written in the 50s, but it's like not very big. It just goes over the basics of buying undervalued properties, getting them renting up, getting them cleaned up. Once you get it done, you refinance it, take that money, you buy another building, and you just keep going and going.
talks about that stuff, saving out the appreciation as long as debt service. You don't pull out, you know what I mean?
But it takes a while to build the wealth part. But once you there's these firms.
Which is 361 minus 2.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Which is going to be 359.
And as soon as the property goes up in value, it's sucked up and most of it is non-taxable. You don't pay tax on it because you're pulling it out of the property. It's not income.
Well, I think is if it's a real estate asset and you put it into another, that's called a 1036.
Oh, yeah.
Is that what the same thing you're avoiding?
The 1031.
1031?
Yeah.
So is 1036 not a thing?
No, there's a 1035 that is something the government gives you 10 years, like if you commit to bank, or something that allows you a longer.
So 1031 is tax deferment?
Yes, tax deferment. It doesn't get rid of it, it just defers it.
Right. Well, if
It's
you
never
want-
really good. It's never really good.
It's not.
You know why? It's better to pay the taxes and take the profits than risk your money in another deal. Remember that. My partner lost $30 million.
Because he was
No, we flipped it. We bought an apartment building for $8 million. We sold it for like $34 million to some dumbass hedge fund in New York.
because it was producing what, 4% a year, and he was
No, they're going to convert it to condos, and they're going to sell it.
So they're going to value add.
Yeah. So it was Terragon. They went out of business during the recession. Terragon was a huge company. Yeah. So anyway, we took that $30 million and bought a gigantic property in St. John's County, which was a $50 million deal. So we financed 20. We financed 20 million. But the bottom line is, even 20 million at 5%, when the cash flow stops coming in, it will eat you alive. And he lost his 30 million. And he could have taken the 30 million, so 1031 in. No, pay 10 million in taxes. Put 20 million in your pocket, bro. No, we risked it on another deal. And it happens all the time. Don't think it's all the time. My dad always said, son, paying taxes is a good thing. And I said, why, Dad? He goes, because that means you're making money.
People don't understand it. Oh, I don't want to make, there's no incentive to make money. Yeah, there is. It says 60 cents on the dollar you're going to make.
No, the thing is, if you want to maximize the reason everybody has LLC when you work for yourself, like my wife's a mortgage banker. Right now she's paying W-2. She pays $100 grand in taxes. She's going to go to a broker, get an LLC, and then she's going to expense every freaking thing that you do. She's going to keep it. No, she's going to keep all of her money. She's going to keep all of her money. Because right now she's paying more than I make for almost a year in taxes. Okay, so she makes 300, she gives them 100.
Yeah.
So now she's going to go to a broker. She's going to have more flexibility. She's going to make more basic payments, but she's going to have to control her own tax situation. And she's not going to have any insurance on it. But he writes off, he makes like $500,000 a year. He writes off freaking everything. He pays zero taxes. That's why you do business for yourself. Oh, yeah. Oh, no.
Yeah, I work this week.
He's our assistant.
Anything you need.
For
Hey, you get up, I can tell the scholarships you apply for.
Okay, their office is on the second floor. Are you guys still in the second floor?
Yeah. We have a brand new MSRED office.
Did Thomas come into the building?
I moved it to the corner office.
That's what we're on.
He's behind the window.
Oh, okay, why don't you? He was pissed.
He made the MSU people move his whiteboard. Even though there was a whiteboard in there, he made him move it up in there.
He was pissed, dude. He wanted to close it. He deserves it. With a window? Yeah, but he wanted the corner. He showed me. He was very excited. And then I sent an email to him, the Professor Fortune, telling him how I think that is so professional, it's so cool that you guys got your own office. That way when board members come or say, she wants to go over and see you, it's so professional. He's got a gigantic credential, what do you call that in the front?
Big secretary desk.
Well, it's like in the front, it's welcoming, they got all the stuff, and all board members to come and other people look professional.
This is our real
I
estate
send them,
space.
yeah, we deserve it.
Like urban planning. I'm just saying, like this, like, so I see that as being the next like computer science degree because everyone needs it right now. And then same for this.
All right.
And do this for computer. Like this is going to be huge.
Triple threat. You turn into a triple threat from a single threat.
Okay, we're trying to use the vertical lookup function. Okay. My computer does not cooperate. Okay. All right, so one of the functions that we want to access is the vertical lookup function. So now we have virtually a completed spreadsheet with one final piece missing, okay? Up to this point, everybody, you should be able to, once again, go in here, change whenever the prepayment occurs. If it happens in month 6, then everything should pop up in terms of the appropriate payoff amount in month 6 and the appropriate rate of return, okay? Everybody should be good to go with that. Now, the final piece is what we want to do is we want to look up basically, or we want to basically tell Excel, we want this value right here, okay? And so we've got to figure out a way to tell Excel how to go and get this specific value. Does that make sense conceptually? Okay, well, what we know is that this represents the 6th number or 6th month in this array or this sort of column. Does that make sense? So what we're trying to do is we're basically trying to say, for that 6th month, we want you to go down 6 months in that column, pick up that number, and put it in that yellow cell. That's what we're trying to do. And if we were to put 15 in that cell, same thing. We would want it to go down and pick up the number for basically month 15, which would be the 16.889. Okay, does that make sense? So now we need to figure out how we're going to do that. And one of the functions I believe that we can use to do that is the vertical lookup function. And I've been playing around with it and having some challenges. Okay? The vertical lookup should allow us to find that. So let's just play around with this for a second. All right. So the lookup value should be cell D11. And then the table array, I'm just going to do a small table array just for a moment. Comma, the index 1, and let's see. Okay. And then pull the bottom. Let's just see. Oh. What it's doing? Oh, I see. So it appears.
Would the array be the period number to look for 15? We have to find a way to point to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Let's try that. So A17. That'll work. What am I missing? We're signing T goes to 11. Not understanding why. whatever reason, it's pulling the bottom of the array, but it's not looking within the array. And we've got the array there. If anybody can figure it out, I'll give you 5 bonus points on the test.
Marcelo, let's do it. Marcelo, break us off.
I am struggling.
Should we be looking at column E?
I tried to say that.
Column, why don't you look at column, why don't you look at column
Are
B?
we looking for it to match the B11 and then take from I, whatever number, the percentage?
No, I mean, what we're trying to do is we're trying to say, okay, if it's in month, whatever month we put in there as the prepayment month, we're simply wanting to, so in this case, with the prepayment month being 7, we're wanting it to look up for month 7. And I've put the array as a small array right now just so I can kind of see what's going on, but I'm confused as to, I'm doing something stupid, I know I am.
Yeah, maybe you can if then for that array. For the second part, you can, I don't know.
No, you don't need to do that. I mean,
It might work, but
no,
it's complicated.
you don't need to do an if then because all you're doing is you're just looking, all you're trying to do is just say, look in that array, a certain number into that array. And I'm trying to,
Whoever gets it right, including Dr. Morgan, gets 2.5 points.
Yeah, it's up there. It's ice.
Oh, there is?
Yeah.
Is it for the class?
Yeah. You want to grab it?
You want one?
All right. What's up? No doctorate degree.
no, apparently that's not helping.
Well,
Oh, wow. Look at this. All right.
When you get
the help function.
That's the worst.
Yeah.
Want to look up range were you, want to
I Google everything.
column, number, yeah. I mean, is there anyone else figured it out?
Right.
Angelo, you let me down, man.
Yeah.
We're trying to look up value.
It looks like it wants to calculate to me when you change it. It's calculating. It's not.
No, it is looking up. I mean, you know, but it's just not looking up the right value. And that's the part that I don't understand is like whenever I've got an array, like we put in this as an array.
Well, I put the array down to the 16,889 and then put the 15 years in. I mean, 15th month, and it looks it up perfectly with your. I did it with 15, but if you put it on any other cell, it doesn't. It's wrong.
Right.
Why would you put 15?
Because I just took it down and I put 15 in prepayment, and we were already working in that cell, so I figured we'd give it, instead of just leaving it at 7, I went all the way down. I just put the array down.
Right.
Well, we'll basically leave that one undone if no one else can help me out and try to figure it out.
Bunch of useless classmates. I can't get it either. I was throwing everything I had at you.
I'm drawing a blank.
Can't help.
Professor, what about the, where it says at the last, it says range lookup, you don't need to do 1 through 360 at the end there? Because it says range lookup.
It's a true or false.
Do you have the other Excel where you print the worksheet from?
Your original?
I don't think I still have it.
doesn't even get a single number.
Well, I can look and see if I can find it. Okay, let's do this.
Wait, isn't the column index number, shouldn't that be different?
What's your name?
Mike.
Mike, 2.5.
Okay, so what are you saying?
I'll try it.
So for the lookup value, I'm obviously trying to use
Range
when the prepayment occurs. And then the table array should be, as I said, should be that column.
Range.
Where is this not working? Okay, here's what we're gonna do. I don't wanna waste any more time with this. It's my fault, not yours, so you're gonna be obviously penalized for that.
So we leave that box blank, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can still look up the answer.
Okay.
I mean, because the answer is obviously gonna be over that column, it's just that you're not gonna be able to see it right there in the yellow cell.
So
Okay.
in this case for
Don't we have to write like false or true?
Didn't help me.
I'm on Google at this point.
yeah,
False.
No,
He can't even get it, so I can't help you.
I'm unfortunately cannot remember how to, I mean, I'm all trying to look at it while you guys are taking the quiz. You can answer every question on the quiz without that, okay? So don't worry, all right? Okay.
Oh, gosh.
All right, so let's do that. What we'll do, we're gonna do this quiz, and then I'm gonna go over the quiz from last week, and then after that, if we can't figure that out in the meantime, maybe while you're taking the quiz, I can probably figure it out and go from there, okay? All right, so let's do this. Let's go ahead and do this little quiz.
My brain's
This one
so
should
nerdy.
be a lot easier than last week.
I mean, that's assuming you have the right
Is
answer.
that-
Well, everyone told me they had it, so, you know.
Well, I gave up for a minute, and then
I got it.
Junior comes over here and says, you've been missing a negative.
That doesn't fly. You don't get junior. You don't get that one. Just words are. That's it. Okay, catch on.
No, seriously, I'm sitting here like,
You're in the marketing class? Okay. We're in the marketing class. It started last semester.
he comes over, he's
Huh?
like,
He can't. Words are whatever you want.
can't be negative.
It's a full,
The whole thing.
and it's hard to keep it all straight.
Junior?
It's hard to keep it all straight.
My lender's cash flow numbers.
Junior over there helped me.
Everything else is right.
No lie, Brandon knows his stuff really well, so text him, call him, anything you can.
Are we supposed to use your calculator?
Don't worry about it.
I'm gonna send out your numbers.
Shouldn't need anything else. Okay, while you want to work on that, we'll work on that.
Before you jump on that, we should figure out how that's 958.
Okay, so we're just gonna plug this in.
D9, that's what you did wrong. Oops. That D9 needs to be.
Oh, boom, shakalaka.
You got V lookup or no?
Okay.
Oh, no.
So now you should be able to copy that all the way down.
Boom.
Yeah.
Boom, shakalaka. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Stop.
All right, it wasn't, the reason why I was looking at the wrong form, it's actually index value. Okay, so here's the, it's actually equal index, and then put in the full range, then comma D11, done.
We still don't need that for the.
You still don't need it, but in order to populate the yellow cell, there you go.
That's what happens when you don't use it for a year.
2.5.
The asset for that is what, 12.055?
No, it should be, well, this one, since it's 5 months, it should be 28, or 29.879.
I was gonna change it because I already changed the numbers.
Right.
Fair enough.
So should we still, we don't have to answer number 5?
No, you still have to answer it, but it's just, you've gotta find it, obviously, without, or you can, if you wouldn't put this formula in, it'll find it automatically for you.
Yeah. Okay.
It reached 12.005%.
Well, whatever, depends on what prepayment you got.
Oh, okay.
If you're on the 5th month for the prepayment, then it should be 24.09. 29. Until the last person turns it in. What's that column? Oh, for whatever period. The prepayment occurs. Well, I can't tell. Well, then this is gonna be the end. more here last week. Mr. Coleman?
You want these back? We keep these.
I'm gonna take them back, but we're gonna talk about them first.
And you take it back afterwards.
Yep. Is Oslo still here? looks like there's about 5 of you still working on it, so see if you can try to wrap it up here in the next few minutes.
So bring it up.
I'm sorry?
Bring this one up or
Ready yet? You can do it right back.
That's what I used. I used the last.
So what is your sense?
Mine says 3.6 as well.
So wait, what?
Yeah, if you don't, yeah, I didn't get that right. Don't worry.
I'll get the way.
Listen, it's the average out. All you need is a C. My last class. No, I don't either. That's a nice cushion in case
Okay, is that everybody? One or two more, maybe?
I was stressing it out. No. We had a finance class before this. I started in January.
Do you know if anyone has taken some classes twice?
No. What?
I'm just curious how it works if you end up taking two classes twice. Like, you didn't do good on the first, does it?
No, you can only get 2 C's in the whole.
Ever?
Ever. So if you get 1, you got to take 3. You got to take 1 class over.
Okay, but that's all it means. You just got to take the class over.
Okay.
But you can
Month
get
is
2
not here, correct?
aggregate.
Okay.
The whole program, 2.
So what happens if you get 3?
You take that class, well, 8 class over, you pick it.
Okay. That's it. It's not like no option. That's it.
The thing is I haven't got left in a B, so this is my last term. So as long as I get at least 2 C's, I'm going to graduate. But I couldn't figure out how to do this portion, the second portion.
Oh.
I just got a 60. Did you, what'd you get?
I don't know yet.
No.
So I did that as one.
I screwed up the I couldn't figure out the variable. I put it in there, but I didn't get it.
Yeah, mine were all, it was like 6.
Wow.
Yeah.
She's a brain.
Stop.
Oh, wow.
That's what mine looked like.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I didn't get it right. obviously. So, but I was screwed up the whole time. Going through the whole
Maryland.
I'm gonna start watching the classes before I come.
Ryan, back here.
No, this computer's 5 years old.
Is this Ryan or is that Ryan? You're, she's up here. I can't hear.
This is no one.
I don't know how you got that, but.
Okay, we're ready.
So where's my mind? Did I finish 16 before?
Yeah. Because the other 3 inputs were easy, but if you screw up the first one, you're done.
That should be like at least you know what afterwards.
We'll play some virtual blackjack in the game.
Yeah, no losers.
I just hope I got at least an 80 on my last one.
That's why I'm trying to get it out of my hand so I feel like
If you go through this, you know, you take
I lose every single time. I do invest. I pick these shades.
No, you have to be fine. That was a group project.
I gave you yours, didn't I?
Yeah, well, what about our last? We're gonna do it. Okay. I'm hoping I bring my average up.
I know, I don't want to be sitting near you.
Okay. So let's start with this one. Let's work through it here together. Okay? Now you are going to get these back to me. I'm just letting you look at them as we kind of work through it here together. All right. So this is the blank spreadsheet. All right. So we're just going to put it in as pretty much it's written. $1 million mortgage. All right. Interest rate 6.25. Okay. Loan term in years 15. Okay. So that's the first thing. So it asks for what is the monthly payment. I think pretty much everybody got that one right. 8574.23. Okay. So that's question number 1. Question number 2, basically using that same information, but now we've got a loan origination fee, in this case of 3%. We put that in. It asks us how much is the actual dollar amount distributed by the lender at time period 0. We simply go over here, look at it, $970,000. Okay. Everybody with me? Okay. All right. Next question. Give the same information. Now just putting in the monthly servicing fees, $165. It's asking you what is the typical monthly income received by the lender. So we just look over to the column here. $87,39.23 would be the typical income that they would receive on a monthly basis. Okay. Then assuming a prepayment penalty, in this case of 5%. And prepaid at the end of 2 years or 24 months. What would be the total cash flow received by the lender during month 24? So we simply go down to month 24, go over, there it is, 968, 638, 81. Okay, and then it asks what is the effective yield or effective cost for a borrowing or lender's yield for that payoff period. Just go over one cell, 10.341. Okay, any questions on those?
You know, okay. I did those exact steps, but I didn't get those numbers. I don't know why. It must have been because I screwed up.
All I can tell you is that's all I did was put the numbers in.
What I mean is I think when we were running around the last 4 hours with the, I might have messed up the formulas in there.
I just didn't add in the payment, the regular payment to that period. That's my difference.
Okay.
So I'm wrong too.
I mean, the only thing that would potentially, you know, is if you didn't reset the interest rate, possibly, that could have thrown some things off. Okay, all right, so that's the first 5 questions. All right, next 5 questions, okay? Basically put everything back to 0. All right, then start off, we have a $6.5 million mortgage. Okay, interest rate of 3.25. Loan term is 20 years. Okay, so the first question is just simply, what is the loan mortgage payment? 867.72. Okay? Everybody clear? Okay. Then we jump down to question 7. And it says assume no origination fees, no administrative fees, no prepayment penalty, but we're going to have some interest rate changes. So we go over to the interest rate column. All right? For months 1 through 12, the interest rate stays at 3.25, so we don't touch it. Okay? Then it will escalate to 4% after that. So starting in month 13, and that's going to be the case for years, in this case, yeah, for year 2. Okay, so it'll stay at 4% for year 2, all the way through month 24. Then starting in month 25, which is year 3, it will be 6%. Okay, so it'll stay 6% for basically month 25 to month 60, which will be the end of year 5. In month 61, or beginning of year 6, it jumps to 8%. Okay, and then it's that for the remainder of the term. Okay, everybody good with that?
Yep.
All right, then we just go back up. And it asks for what would be the effective cost of borrowing. Well, in this case, what is going to be, there's no prepayment, meaning it pays off when? Month 240.
That's what I did.
Okay, and you should get 6.448. Or you can just look down at month 240 and see that's what the answer is. Okay, either way. All right? Then in question 8, it says if you add in a 2% loan origination fee, basically what would be the revised answer? Okay, so all you do is just type in 2%, and the answer for 8 would be 6.691. Okay? All right, question 9. You're going to add in now a $500 a month administrative fee. What's your revised answer? 6.816. All right, and then question 10. You're going to add in a prepayment penalty of 4%, and the prepayment is going to occur at the end of year 3 or month 36. So you type that in, and you should end up with 6.345, and you're done with the quiz. Okay? All right. Any questions?
I did all that, but I didn't end up with the right answer at the and then so we lose the 3 other points because when you add everything in, if you're screwed up there, you're down. But I have the same formula you have there, but not at the end. It doesn't show the same yield.
Okay. All right. Any questions?
I did the same thing.
Okay. All right. Go ahead and turn those back into me so they collect those.
Dude, I did all the steps you did, and I have 3.25 at the end. Yeah, well, if this is wrong, the 3 other ones are wrong.
What? No, absolutely not.
Yeah, I know, that's what I said, but
I mean, so you gotta.
Okay.
Dude, this says exactly what this says up there, but it comes up at 3.25.
I mean, but you don't think that that's correct?
I don't think that's correct, but
You
if
gotta
it's,
find out.
of course. What do you think I just did for the last 25 minutes?
I know.
I wasn't born yesterday.
All
Last night, but not yesterday. So if you screw that one up, you lose the other 2.
I want to figure out where I missed mine too.
Okay.
I screwed up with
All of them? We got all of them back.
0.8 and it started.
No, but if you miss one question,
In the wrong spot.
I have the same freaking, if it starts going down, then the effective cost is on the top. Exactly. Somewhere it gets screwed up in the middle.
Okay, is that everything?
It doesn't mean you don't understand it, but we have to be able to get the right answers, not understand them. And I
We got all the quizzes.
Yeah, but I don't even know
Get
what
it back.
you're
Getting 0.
don't even
Until
know what
early you give me your quiz back. Okay.
What I did wrong was I had a fully loaded thing, and I started changing one number and expected it to feed me out. I needed to reset, put one number in at a time.
So, just to kind of throw out a couple of stats. So on that quiz, it looks like there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people out of 29 that got 100.
2.5. Waiting for it.
All right. So, all right. Any questions on that one? So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back to the one for last week, okay? I'm gonna pass it out and talk about it.
I might have to pack it over really good.
How about those Gators, man? It's a Gator game.
Okay, Wanda not here, is she? Okay, Evan is gone. Ryan is here. Okay, Oslin. Okay, Olson.
The bad thing is paying for this.
Okay, Range is not here today. Woody.
Oh, wow!
Is that one better?
No, not really.
Okay. Stewart is over there. There she is.
Yep.
You ready to take a test with me? I'm taking a test. For
There is
sure.
no